So hi guys. I'm Lisa Banda and I'm one of the climate change advocates here in Malawi. So I want to start this series where we'll be commenting on different issues that are trending on that day. So today I wanted to start off with a statement that was released by the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, which is PACJA, and this is a press statement which was released today, and it's to do with the location of the Santiago Network on loss and damage, which has been decided to be in Geneva. So, if some of you don't know what is the Santiago Network on loss and damage, basically, it is a network that is supposed to provide technical support to countries for them to be able to look at issues to do with loss and damage. When we talk about technical support, it can be it formulation of policies, when it comes to even maybe proposals for accessing loss and damage finance, all those things. So in terms of planning, policy issues, and delivery, that kind of support. So this is a network that has been established to do with loss and damage issues. So today, the statement was released, and so let's look at the background. So the press statement, the reason for the press statement is that the advisory board of the Santiago Network on Loss and Damage apparently held its first meeting from 18th to 20th March in Geneva. So here's the issue. They selected Geneva, Switzerland to be the host of the secretariat of the Santiago Network on Loss and Damage. So, as the statement reads, there was an advisory board. So, and there was an assessment process done by UNOPS and UNDR. So, from these assessments, they came up with possible locations for the secretariat, and one of which was Nairobi, Addis Ababa, Bonn, and Geneva. So, among all these locations that were provided, and it was recommended that Nairobi is the optimal location to host the Santiago Network on Loss and Damage Secretariat, that is based on scientific analysis, proven methodologies, etc. So now the issue is the advisory board that met, is it this week? Last week? Yeah, should be last week. Yeah. So they recommended that they want the secretariat to be in Geneva. Now, so as you go through the statement, you understand that they do cite the issue to do with the tactics that are in putting all these, what can I say? Maybe, for example, I would say headquarters of different mechanisms that have been set up under the UNFCCC. For example, we have the issues that are subsidiary bodies. Those meetings that they happen, for instance, in Bonn in Germany, and we also have the GCF, which I think is based in, is it Korea or South Korea? So they did cite all those. As you go through the statement, you find out, and they clearly state that the decision by the board demonstrates the sustained conspiracy by developed countries to keep climate response measures remote to African and other developing nations who ought to be at the center of the capacity strengthening support of the Santiago Network on loss and damage. Now, when we talk about this should be at the center of capacity strengthening support of the Santiago Network on loss and damage, we do understand that loss and damage, even I would say even for my country, Malawi, it is something that is still being discussed. And I do know that there are different studies that are being conducted for us to better understand the issue of loss and damage, and also how do we go about it? Do we have enough policies, or do we even have the policies that support this? And what are the gaps? What are the methodologies for us to account for loss and damage? We do understand that there is economic losses and the non-economic losses that come in. So all these issues, it is not just Malawi per se, but even other developing countries that do need that capacity in order for them to be better placed, to be able to seek even the support itself, for us to be able to understand the gaps, but also for us to be able to look at the financing. How do we best represent or present the issue of loss and damage for people to understand it better, and for us to present our issues? I know that I've been in discussions where you want people to talk about issues of loss and damage, but even the people that you think this person is supposed to understand what loss and damage is, they don't. You understand? So in that room, even when you feel like these are very people that are very in the climate change space, and you expect them maybe to understand these issues, I would say even me sometimes I get confused. I know that I had a colleague at the office, yeah, I usually used to ask her a lot about this. And so it's a learning process. And when it comes to capacity strengthening, it is something that as Africa we really do need. So I want to bring it down to the other issue, which says, we are aggrieved that hosting right for a platform which embodies the struggles of the communities at the front line of climate crisis, and whose location should symbolize the very palpable rationale of tackling loss and damage, has once again been unjustly snatched from a deserving developing country. So then comes in the condemnation and everything, that this has to be nullified. So my issue is, when we are talking about a location of something, it is something that we need to look at from experience. I want us to discuss, what does location mean to you for something? Because location, it's something that is really looked at. Even, I would say, for example, in Malawi, they had to move the location of the capital city. It used to be in the southern region, so they had to move it. I think it was 1998, after I was born. Okay, they had to move it to be at the most central location, which is Lilongwe now. And that is where most of the government offices, maybe services, I would say, that are offered by government are mostly based in the central region, and to be specific, in the capital city. So location, it's something that we need to look at, but also it's about the power struggles. Do you understand? I would say, if I go somewhere, if someone has the power to decide on something or is a host for something, it means for us to access that service, then we have to look at the access issues. If this was based in Africa, maybe there would be something which would have already been addressed, or we could meet halfway. But if they're moving this to be all the way in Switzerland, when we're talking about Africa as being the most vulnerable continent when it comes to climate change impacts, that means we're overlooked. And that means we do not really matter. I'm just going to say it like that. We do not really matter. Because if we did, why would they ignore it? And I think I did not tell you one thing. As you read the statement, you also find out that they clearly state their analysis from the UNDRR, to the advisory board, was blatantly and contemptuously, forgive me if I'm pronouncing these words wrongly, ignored, and the board selected Geneva which was ranked third. Third, guys. Third in their analysis. I mean, why would you take something which ranked third? For someone that has been in procurement, you have to assess things based on different merits. You understand? You set them up. And if this was an assessment, I reckon that those types of issues were looked at, and we set those merits, and we measure each and everything against those merits. All these proposed locations had to go through and be assessed against that merit that was already set up. So that means if someone scored third, for you to pick that person, there must be a clear explanation for that. For me, my first reaction when I saw this, before I retweeted what the other tweets that my colleagues also tweeted, my first reaction was, why? I know that it's a recommendation, because it's a recommendation and it can be it can be overlooked based on other issues that are also being assessed by the people that we give the recommendation to. But I do deserve an explanation. We do deserve an explanation, guys, and we want this decision to be nullified. That's the aim of this video. We want that decision to be nullified. So guys, let me hear your comments. What's your take on location of different resources that you have in your country? What's your take? What does access to something mean to you? What does it do when you have access to something and when you don't? Let's hear it.